Alright guys, welcome to week 2 of the Hollow October thing. I don't know what I really call this, so I'm just calling it the October thing. And today, we're going to be talking about the weirdest third-party character to ever join the roster in Smash Bros. Now you guys are probably thinking, oh, who is it? It was a freaking Cloud? Is it Banjo-Kazooie? Oh no, it's Mrs. Bayonetta. She wins the year, so let's talk about her.
Not again.
I'm going to be starting off with talking about why she's in the game. Because if you really think about it, it's weird. Bayonetta is a weird franchise when it comes to their history with Nintendo, Platinum Games and Nintendo's history when it comes to their franchises. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about that, gosh dang it. And I do want to kind of mention some things that is incredibly interesting though, that maybe something that I pieced together and the true reason of why I personally think that she's in Smash Brothers at all. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's episode. So strap in. If you're not strapped in, put your guns to your feet, put your guns to your hands, because I know you got guns. So let's go ahead and do this, guys. Let's do this. Yeah.
You're weird. You're a weird guy.
Okay, Bayonetta, wow. Yeah, she's really weird. So Bayonetta got introduced to the roster on December 16, 2015 on one of the very last presentations for Smash 4, being the ultimate video game presentation, where we got the confirmation of Corrin in the game. We also got Cloud and his moveset. I think he was available during the following day. And then we got the confirmation of our final DLC character, the one that'll end off the whole roster of these dope-ass characters we've gotten. Think about it at this time. We got Mewtwo at the time, was absolute fire to get it first. Then we got Lucas, which was dope. We got Roy to complete off the trio of returning veterans. Then we got Ryu as this cool ass thing from Capcom. We got Cloud, the first Square Enix character. And then we're getting Corrin, who has this unique moveset. And then we get...
Let's dance, boy.
Bayonetta. It seems kind of weird that she's the last character to end it on. I'm not gonna lie to you. At the time, Bayonetta 2 came out by then, coming all the way back out in, I believe, September 20th, 2014, when Bayonetta 2 came out. And of course, both games were ported to the Switch for the anticipated release of Bayonetta 3. But as far as games go, we got Bayonetta 1, of course. Bayonetta 2, when it came out, also came with Bayonetta 1. So that way people who missed out on Bayonetta 1, because originally Bayonetta 1 was only on Xbox 360, so they got both games ported. They got new content, like you get new skins like Princess Peach and Fox and all that, and you have all this stuff, and it's like, still, why is this character in Smash Brothers? She's had 2 games. She kind of is the lone wolf, the outlier of a lot of the reasons Sakurai chooses characters. If you look at all the other third-party characters, I mean, let's look at them. The ones I can remember off the top of my head: Sonic, Mega Man, and Pac-Man. I mean, do I even need to explain why they're in the game? They're the icons of gaming history. And all 3 of them are pretty closely resembled to Nintendo and kind of go with that theme. They fit right into the roster. Ryu is the classic fighting game that everybody knows. Everyone knows about Street Fighter. Everyone knows about Ryu. Everyone knows about Ken, which is why he's in the game as well. He was the original clone. Then we got Cloud. I mean, do I even have to explain it? Final Fantasy VII is one of the greatest games of history, of video game history, to be honest with you. And then you got Joker from Persona 5. I mean, Persona 5 is definitely the best-selling Persona game we've ever gotten, and has made more people start playing the older game. Now, yes, that was due to Smash Brothers, but Persona's been around for a very long time. Back more there later. Banjo-Kazooie has plenty of Nintendo history. And then we got Dragon Quest that's been on Nintendo consoles and whatnot. The first Bayonetta game was on the Xbox 360 360. It wasn't available on any Nintendo console because back then it was the Wii, and the Wii's not that powerful of a console. And obviously this game is graphically amazing, so we didn't get that. Another weird thing about Bayonetta that's weird, and why I say she's the weirdest third-party character, is not only because she didn't have a lot of history with Nintendo at the time, I would say, until the whole thing that happened with Bayonetta 2, where Nintendo took up the reins and allowed Platinum Games to create that. Because if Nintendo didn't do that, Bayonetta wouldn't even be a thing right now. It would have just been another franchise just lost in the bowels of gaming industry. Industry? What the Okay, industry. The other thing is that Bayonetta, compared to the other franchises, are relatively new when it comes to how they are, if I'm being real with you. If you look at all the characters I've said just now, all of them have come from the 1990s/1980s. SNK came, I think it was 1985.
Wrong!
Sonic, they all came out during the 1990s/80s. However, if we look at a history of the Bayonetta franchise, what's weird is that this game was released in October 29th, 2009, which was only 10 years ago, which is a fairly short amount of time. And I would say of all the characters, she's the newest third party out of everybody. Another thing about Bayonetta, I mean, the one thing if she came out, I mean, let's be honest, lots of people advocate for Minecraft Steve, and he also came out at the same time, right? Well, that's where iconicness also comes into factor of the character. Let's be honest here, before Bayonetta came out on the Switch, not a lot of people knew who Bayonetta was at all. Not a lot of people knew the games. I didn't know about the Bayonetta series until I saw this one video about this guy talking about how Bayonetta should be in Smash, and I didn't know what the hell that was, so I saw playthroughs of it. So I played with Bayonetta 1 and 2, and it was dope. I mean, the series is great, however, it's not iconic. Not a lot of people know about it. Now, you could say the same thing for like Fatal Fury, but even then, it's still old, and the SNK is a well-known company that's known to produce fighting games, and King of Fighters, among the community, they know who these characters are. Being iconic means you kind of scale above the typical gaming audience. So if I showed a picture of Pac-Man to literally anybody, my 83-year-old grandma could probably pick out who Pac-Man is. If I showed a picture of Sonic to somebody, they would know who that is. Like, oh wait, that's that hedgehog Sonic. If I showed a picture of Mario, oh hey, Mario, that guy, I remember that guy. The same goes for, and we just continue on, vice versa. But if I showed a picture of Bayonetta to a friend's like,
oh yeah, that's a girl from that strip club I like going to every night.
And then you'll be like, yo, aren't we in like the 4th grade? How are you accessing this information? Bayonetta isn't iconic. I can't even deny it. She's not iconic at all. She's not iconic at all. And once again, it's just one of those things where she just isn't known that well. Like I said, there are some characters where I feel like nowadays people wouldn't. Like Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Kazooie is a character for people who grew up with the franchise. But that's the thing. There are people who grew up with the franchise. Bayonetta really doesn't have that going for her, to be honest with you. All the other characters are iconic. She is one of the only third-party characters off the top of my head that I can remember that is not an iconic character. And even if you want to say in gaming history, she's not in gaming history, what has she done for gaming? Things that Bayonetta did for gaming was things that would allow characters like Dante to be more of a Smash character than anything, because Dante from Devil May Cry, he kind of popularized the whole combo games beat 'em up genre. Not Bayonetta. Bayonetta was just a factor from Devil May Cry. She was based on that. The same can't be said for like Mario. Not every single character is a character that started a genre, but I mean, a lot of the characters are well known in their current genre, and I think that beforehand, if I asked you, hey, can you name me what's the first beat 'em up genre game that comes to your mind, you would probably think of Devil May Cry and like Dynasty Warriors or something like that. Not Bayonetta. I don't know about that. Maybe I'm underestimating how important she is in the beat 'em up genre, but not really, to be honest with you. She's only had 2 games too. Overall, Bayonetta is not that iconic of a character, and seeing how she is, it's weird that she got into Smash Bros. I said this, and the reason why I'm making this video actually is because I said this during my video during the DLC part 2 discussion where I talked about characters being iconic and that Bayonetta was an exception, and that I would talk about her eventually, and now is eventually. So let's go ahead and discuss, why is Bayonetta in Smash Brothers and what meaning does she have to be in the game? Well, let's start off in Melee, right? Third-party characters wasn't a thing till Brawl. So, I mean, if we go back to Melee, right? We have plenty of iconic characters. We have Mario, Luigi, Peach, Bowser, Zelda, Ganondorf. You have all these characters that are iconic, right? And that represent the series. It wasn't until then that we started seeing a trend of characters that aren't as popular coming into the game. I.e., we go to characters like Mark and Roy especially. These were, of course, from the Fire Emblem series that got their start in Japan and remained Japan exclusive until, I believe it was Fire Emblem 7 came out. Roy was in the game to promote Fire Emblem Binding Blade that was coming out during that time. It wasn't out at the time, but it was used for a way to promote that game being a thing. So we have instances where we have that, and we have less popular characters coming in for the sake of advertisement, for the sake of promoting the character and promoting the series that they're in, that they're representing. The Fire Emblem series wasn't popular at all in the West, but now look at Fire Emblem. It's a gargantuan series now. It's up there with the big heads of Nintendo. One of the main reasons for that is because of Smash Brothers. I mean, shucks, that is kind of how it is. And Smash 4, a good example I would say of this is not only Bayonetta, but I would say Shulk as well. Shulk is a good example because at the time, not a lot of people knew what the hell Xenoblade was, Xenoblade Chronicles. Still now, there are people who yet to play the game, but since then, if you guys don't know the whole thing behind Xenoblade Chronicles, it was one of, I believe, 3 games that they were never going to come to the States, but people signed like a whole petition, and they have those 3 games down, like they signed a petition, and a lot of people were rallying behind each other to have the games come to America. As like, we want to play the game. So Nintendo released them, not in bunches, which notoriously made Xenoblade Chronicles one of the hardest games of the Wii to find, only being available at GameStop in a very limited quantity, man. Very limited. Very limited. Finding a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles is the equivalent of me trying to find a girlfriend. Just non-existent.
Oh, brother!
Anyways, we move forward to Brawl, and we have the confirmation of third-party characters being in the game. Once again, we have that whole third-party character, iconic character, Snake. Solid Snake, bro? You guys don't know Solid Snake. Solid Snake, Sonic, all that jazz. Smash 4 comes out, we get even more third-party characters, including Bayonetta at the very end. So, why is she like? Well, that I would say, and I think the main reason why she's like this, and I was thinking about this for the longest time of why Bayonetta is in the game in the first place. Once again, there's so many other popular beat 'em ups that would probably fit in well with the criteria that Sakurai set for himself when choosing a character for Smash Bros. Now, here's when we get to the interesting part. So let's go back to when she was first revealed. Well, what are some things you guys remember from Bayonetta in Smash 4? Oh yeah.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
She's broken as hell. She was notorious for being one of the greatest characters in the game, even when nerfed. There was also the fact that there's that mysterious thing. If you guys didn't watch, I'll put a link to the video in the iCard above, but I made a video a long time ago that Bayonetta was chosen 2 weeks into the ballot's announcement, which is very odd. There was certain data and stuff that was found over Zero Suit Samus that heavily implies that they started working on Bayonetta 2 weeks after the ballot dropped. And that raises a lot of questions because y'all already know Sakurai said multiple times that Bayonetta was the 3rd most voted for in Europe. So would Sakurai lie? And I still don't know that question, that answer to that question, but we know there's some mystery going on with that. I think this all chalks down to a tweet that we found. And this is Hideki Kamiya, the creator of Bayonetta, and this is him explaining why Bayonetta is on Nintendo, right? So I'm gonna read to you guys this entire tweet. This is a long tweet because this is a combination of 15 different This goes back to the very beginning history of Bayonetta. So once again, going through the history real quick. Bayonetta 1 was released on the Xbox. Here is from Hideki Kamiya. I got something that I want to tell you all. It's about Bayonetta 3. We are a developer that creates games by signing contracts with publishers and receiving funds for them in order to cover development costs. For Bayonetta 1, we signed a contract with Sega and received funds from them. Then we proposed a design for the game and entered production. All of the rights belonged to Sega. At the time, our company had only been established and we weren't properly equipped for multi-platform development. So after discussing with Sega, we decided to develop the game exclusively for Xbox 360. However, after that, one of Sega's trading partners ended up making a port for the PS3 at Sega's behest. More recently, they also decided that a Steam version should be developed, which was released last year. Sega owns the rights to all these versions. When we started making Bayonetta 2, we initially received funds from Sega to develop the game for multiple platforms, but the project was halted due to circumstances at Sega. Nintendo then stepped in to continue funding the game, allowing us to finish it. As such, the rights belong to Sega and Nintendo. The rights owners decided the game should be made for the Wii U. Nintendo was also kind enough to fund a port of Bayo 1 for the Wii U, and they even allowed us to use a Japanese voice track we created for the Wii U version and the PC version of Bayo 1 as well. I'm extremely thankful to Nintendo for funding the game and to Sega for allowing them to use the big Bayonetta IP. As for Bayonetta 3, it was decided from the start that the game was going to be developed using Nintendo's funding. Without their help, we would not have been able to kick off this project. All the rights still belong to Sega and Nintendo. The rights owners decided that the game should be made for the Switch. Game development is a business. Each company has its own circumstances and strategy. Sometimes this means games get made, sometimes it means they get canceled. But I believe that every single person involved is dedicated to delivering the best possible experience. I know that, to me at least, that's one of the biggest goals when I set to work. I cannot express how happy I am that we get to make Bayonetta 3, and we intend to do everything within our power to make it as good as it can be. That's all we can do, and we consider it our greatest mission. It took a while for production of Bayonetta 3 to be okayed, but now that it's kicked off, I hope it will turn into a wonderful encounter for all of you. So that all to say, that is the story of Bayonetta. The series that started out on Xbox 360 was completely funded by Sega, but something happened within Sega's internal staff. They couldn't fund Bayonetta 2, all of Bayonetta 2, so Nintendo funded the rest of them, and they even funded for a port of Bayonetta 1 on the Wii U, and even allowed them to use the stuff that they made exclusively for the Wii U version in the PC version. So they were nice enough to do that. So when they're making Bayonetta 3, it's 100% on Nintendo Switch. And that's it. And that is the story of why that is the case. So you're probably asking yourself, why the hell did you just read all that for? Well, I read all that to tell you that I think the reason for Bayonetta having all of this, not only for her being in Smash, but also for the fact of why she's so broken in the game and why she is the way she is because of promotion at the end of the day. And that leads all the way back to Melee. When Fire Emblem was being made, they promoted Roy and Marth. Marth was the only reason, I would say, one of the biggest reasons, not one of the biggest reasons, but one of the main reasons I would say that Fire Emblem was noticed in the West was because of so many players playing Marth. Because Marth is amazing in Melee. He's one of the top 5, I think he's like top 5 on the Melee tier list. And I think Nintendo wanted to replicate that, but instead of Marth, it was Bayonetta. I think that's the reason why overall they wanted to do this. So that way they could promote Bayonetta and help Bayonetta get off its feet, so that way when Bayonetta 3 comes out, oh man, that's that character from Smash that's really good in Smash 4. I want to play that game now. And it worked. Smash did help the Bayonetta sales for Bayonetta 2, Bayonetta 1 and stuff. Not to the extent that Fire Emblem did, obviously, but I think Nintendo did it as a nice gesture for the Platinum Games to get their character and their series kind of off the route. Obviously, Bayonetta 2 wasn't going to do well because of the fact that Bayonetta 1 was released on the Xbox One. So it was intended for a different audience already. So now we got to promote this game to a whole different audience full of games that are catered towards kids and families. No mom is gonna buy some game about some busty babe who her hair is her clothing. Like, no one's gonna do that. So I don't know, I wouldn't say Bayonetta was doomed from the start, I would say, but Nintendo kind of predicted, they're like, I don't think this is gonna work out, so we'll help you out. We'll put your character in Smash, we'll make him broken, we'll make her broken, so that way they come on. Or the fact that she's broken could be just complete coincidence. But I think it was good because it garnered enough attention for other people to start playing Bayonetta. And once again, when Bayonetta 3 comes out, that will be even more hype for those people who played Bayonetta 2. So essentially, what I'm trying to say here was it was a way for them to promote Bayonetta in Melee like they did accidentally in Melee. But they did it purposely, I think, in Smash 4. And that's my theory of why Bayonetta is in Smash, why she was the last character introduced, and why she's broken in Smash Brothers. That's my theory though. Literally, it's just my theory, but I think that makes a lot of sense to why she's in the game. Alright, well, whew, golly, that was quite the mouthful I said there. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. This is week 2 of the Halloween marathon. I mean, you guys can obviously tell Bayonetta's a freaking witch, and we did a nice powerful video about her and why she's in Smash. So I thought it would fit putting this video in this kind of time slot during Halloween, where, oh hey, witches, hey, not bad. I don't know people who've had this theory before, and I promise you I didn't get this from anybody else but myself. It was just my thinking of me talking to myself, eventually coming up with that conclusion. So once again, I hope you guys enjoyed the whole thing. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this episode and want to see what else is on the go, you guys check out this whole playlist in the description below. And of course, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys want more Smash talk on your plate. Hopefully this will come out on time, so that way we'll have week 3, then we'll have week 4. I don't know how many more videos we're gonna make here, but we'll just keep going until we do the damn thing. So I'll catch you guys in the next episode. With all that being said, you can put your spatulas down now, but keep it sizzling, my Baconators. Peace. Oh man, and my theory's right. That's some bull.